Hello, welcome to more Haskell live coding. I discovered recently this is episode number 51 today. I missed the 1 year anniversary. I can't believe I've been doing this for a whole year now, but sometime in April last year I started. So I've been doing it for just over a year, so I'm now 1 year better at Haskell, which is kind of cool. And I guess that I'm doing it for 50 hours now, so I am only 9,950 hours short of being an expert. So progress there, I guess. Cool. So plan for tonight. Last week I was writing a test for some missing functionality. So I can create an environment and a booking against that environment, but I had removed the code that deals with the availability of the environment. So if you create a booking for the current time, or that includes the current time basically, it should tell you that the environment is not available because it's booked. But if there's no booking, or all the bookings are for different times, like they don't cross the current time, then the environment is available. So that's the thing I'm trying to get working. But I wrote a test for this last week, and luckily not luckily, but thankfully it fails. So I have a test case where the environment is booked and it's not saying that it's booked. So that's a good starting point. I want to use that now to implement the code, basically, to get it working. Okay, so picking up where we were last week. This is the test that's failing, I think. I think it was failing earlier. I got two tests. So when there's no bookings, we create an environment, just to create an environment, that's all we do. And we say it should be available. And then we create a booking for the current time. We create the environment. And then we create a booking, which is the current time plus 1 hour. So that should cross the current time, obviously. And then we say it should not be available. So it should be status booked, showing here. I should probably actually put a third test in, which is, well, yeah, I guess a third test for booking, but not crossing the current time. Before that, let me just check this still works in the sense that it fails. That's cool. So I've got one failure, and it says it should be booked, but it got available. One failure. Cool. Okay, so what I might do actually is just copy that, and oops, just stick it. What's happening there? I can say when there's a booking for when there's a booking, but not for the current time. So it's not booked, it's available. So we create the environment as before. What are we going to do? So we will not get the current time. Maybe we can, but we'll manipulate it. So how do you subtract times? Get current time. What's the type of that? Let me find the terminal. Using stack here, I think. Yep, cool. I switched using Kaplan as a project, and it's annoying when I forget. If I run the wrong one, it recompiles everything, basically. So the type of get current time, I'm going to say non-scope. So this comes from system time or something. No. Where is time? Data time. Don't really know why it's in data. But anyway. Okay, it is of type IO UTC time. And if we have a look at UTC time, that's not very helpful. No, we just tell me stuff about it. Can we say something like data.time. show me them all. Not diff time. Shared done this before, but I can't remember how it works. Add days. Add local time. Add UTC time. Just want to add hours to it, but maybe it's add. It's probably that, isn't it? So it's add UTC time. What do we do with this? So it goes from normal diff time to time to time. Okay, so I think I can say something like add UTC time. Oh, where are we? So we could say something like add 2 hours ago. Is that? Oh, hang on. This uses a UTC time, not a live UTC time, so we need to get the current time back. Because I'm going to create a couple of these, I'll store it in a variable. So 2 hours ago, it's difficult when I start because my mind is still, well, probably in Go because I've been coding all day in a different language, and it's a little bit confusing. But I'll pick it up again. So add UTC time. And can we say something like minus, I don't know what this takes. What's normal diff time? It's going to tell me. Info nominal diff time. I think it's just seconds. Wow. Okay, it's got a constructor with picoseconds. It doesn't sound great. Whatever data fix pico is, it might not be picoseconds, but it does seem to suggest that from the name. Add nominal diff time. That's what I'm looking for. Nominal diff time. Thanks to time. As you see, from integer, we'll treat it as seconds. Okay, cool. So I could just say from integer and then number of seconds. I don't need to construct that. So from integer, and then minus, and then 100. Hang on a minute. It's 100 seconds because it's 2 hours. Okay. To now. So we'll add that on. Let's check this works. So we say something like now equal get current time. Okay. And we can say add UTC time from integer and then minus 7200 now. Oh, what have I done there? From integer, that's what I was trying to do. Okay, 1808 UTC, and this one should be 2008 UTC. Cool. Okay, so it looks like that does what I want it to do. So we will create a new booking, but not from now, but from 2 hours ago. And we'll do a future one as well. So 2 hours from now, and we will just make that positive. Redundant from integer. Redundant bracket. Oh, we could leave it off here as well. I'll see. So we'll look at 2 hours from now for 1 day. So we'll call this booking 2 and we'll call this booking 1, but we need to update both of them. Booking 1 and booking 2. Okay. And this should be available. Okay. That one I think should work. Assuming the code's okay, but in terms of the test itself, because it's always available, I expect that one to pass. So one failure, that's cool. So servability, when there's a booking for the current time is booked. Cool. Okay, so now I just need the only thing I need to do is make this work. Oh, I was going to get this from integer. I don't think I need it. Yeah, looks like it's fine. Okay, I guess from integer is the default thing when you give it an integer. From integer and integer doesn't make sense. Okay. Right, this test. So we are creating something for the current time. It is, I'm just going to split this over multiple lines so it's easier to read. It should be booked and it's not. So we're returning environment with status. This is probably in here. So when we get the environment, we are calling this with status, passing in the ID and the env. So the with status will probably need a bit more information. It will need the stuff from the it need the bookings for that environment where it crosses the current time. Did we have a helper for this in booking? That should be booking DB. So we got get all bookings for environment. We have one called get active bookings for environment. Okay. So we give it an environment, we give it the current time, and it returns a list of entity bookings. Okay, so can I now call it get active bookings for environment? Let me just do it here for now. So we got environment. We'll say something like bookings comes from, it's not DB, it's booking DB. What was it called? It was something like get active bookings for environment. It's not going to complete this for me. Am I exploring this get active bookings for environment? I am. That's good. Good start. It's probably not re-exported. Get active bookings for environment. Let's go booking DB. So let's pull in import booking DB as qualified. booking.db. Oh, I typed the wrong thing. That's really annoying. Import qualified booking.db as bookingdb. Okay. So now it's imported the right thing. We need to pass in the environment key and current time. The current time is kind of easy. Everything now comes from get VC time. Oh, what was it called? It's in the test, isn't it? It's called get current time. Okay. Need to lift IOs out. Okay, so the current time. We've got the environment back. So this should have come from, sorry, this returns maybe environment. So we must have the key. We do have the key, okay. So to SQL key ID. And now, okay. I'll pull this SQL key out. So say where SQL key is to SQL key, oops, ID. I think if I use it, it'll work out what the type is. Yep. Okay. So we got our bookings. This takes the ID and the environment and returns environment status. But we can also pass in the bookings, I guess, or even just the status. Yeah, let's pass in the bookings. So this returns entity booking. Entity booking.booking, bookingdb.booking. So it's got bookings and that. Is this exported from booking as well? It's not. Okay. So status will be status where, just move that back a bit, where status equals, no, status of bookings. So status of the empty list, so we don't have any bookings since available. And status of anything else is booked. Okay, and then we can say bookings in there. Okay, so that works for a single environment. For the okay, for this we should be okay as well because we got the ID. So no reason why we couldn't just get the bookings, but this work I might as well move into I must move into here so we can just load the stuff up. Let me just get rid of that. And I will change this back to be to only take the ID. So based on the ID, I'll look stuff up. But instead of returning environment status, I'm going to return up m environment status, and I'll pull in monad.io. And like that. And I just need to come do. Okay, everything is bad now. Okay, this I now need to restore to be to SQL key. To SQL key of ID. This thing, right? Give it a pure. So it wants to return an append of maybe environment status, and this is returning an append environment status. So we're not maybeing it. So it'll be just I want to just, this is going to return append environment status, and I want to turn it into to append just environment status. Tricky. I mean, I could do this. Got E for a second. And then I can say just E. I seem to have broken some stuff here. So now we change one thing and then everything goes red, and then you type the wrong key. Okay. Let me fix with status first and we'll come back to this. So one problem here is we should now say pure. And these arguments were wrong. Okay. So the status of bookings. Okay, so we're now returning append environment status. And what have we got here? That error makes sense, but not for this line. Couldn't match type maybe with reader T application at config m. Really? With actual type maybe append m0 environment status. Is it the last statement that's causing this? So I expect this to say, it's really not what I expect at all. Look at what worked before, sorry. So we got, I could just say pure on that whole thing. And that somehow worked previously. Even though previously it was just returning environment status. So it's taking environment status and turning into this. So this should be okay, right? It's complaining because we're not returning, or because we haven't finished our do block, basically. So if I were to say pure S, that will not work because I've got reader T. I've got reader T application, reader T app environment status, and it wants maybe environment status. I'm a bit confused. I'm confused as to why the type of this is error again. The type of this is reader T app input status. Is that right? No. The expected type is this thing. The actual type is nested append. I thought by doing this, I would get rid of this append and just get environment status. If I did have just environment status, I should be able to say pure just S, but I can't, it seems, because I end up with append maybe append environment status. So this is not doing what I think it's doing, basically. The type of S is append in this case, environment status. So if you just bring it up the full error for this, so expected type is append maybe environment status, and the actual type is maybe append environment status. Where is this maybe coming from? That's left me very confused. Okay. I wonder if I could just put something in the middle here. So something like, I'm just going to call this food for a second. Monoleo M is going to take, let's just not take anything, let's do map M environment with status. And in the definition of foo, This is a bit silly, but we can say something like let E equal environment status. I will say env is 1. I think it's just an int, and name, which is just string or text, I can't remember. Test, and status is available. And then we should say pure E. Okay, so now we've got something very simple. It's just returning environment status. Okay, we get our back, but we're not doing anything with it yet. So if we just said foo, which is some kind of error here, right? We expected environment with status. We expected that environment status, and the actual type is appm environment status. Okay, so it's this last argument it can't deal with. So can we say just foo? We cannot, because that's maybe appm environment status rather than appm environment. Appm maybe environment status. And if we grab foo, the type of f is the same as if we said let f equal. Type of f here is foo type check. Type of f is appm environment status. So how do we wrap the inner thing in a maybe? Or well, maybe the thing I'm saying is, given I'm under appm, a very quick fix to this, right, which is not the best fix, but we can say appm maybe, and down here we can say pure just that. Still doesn't work. So expected type is rigidity appm maybe environment status. I think it's maybe appm maybe environment status. Where is this last maybe coming from? It's really confusing me. Because it's not, this is not returning maybe appm maybe environment status. Its type is appm maybe environment status. So where is that maybe coming from? It wouldn't be that, it's not going to help at all. Couldn't match that with environment status yet. We're just getting very deeply nested now. Okay. So doing this is causing me issues. This whole thing. to get rid of Monoleo. And we need to put this somewhere. I just call it something like find current bookings, find active bookings. I'm just call the status. And we are going to take, I really want to take Monoleo here, so that we can do some stuff. We'll take the int64 ID, and we might as well take key environment. And we will also take, that's what we need, I think. Right, we'll return a status. Oh, so we'll return a status. We're going to return an app.m status. Okay. So the ID, and then I'll just grab these. Okay, and then we can do something like case bookings of, and then empty list goes to available, and everything else will go to booked. Okay. Type of this status is environment status. I can't say key environment. I can say key db.environment. I need to add that. Where we go? I don't know why it keeps not scrolling properly. This is the one I wanted. Okay, we need to purify this. So here, can we say status, and we will run status of the ID. Okay, what's the type of status now? It's a type environment status. This is what I expect it to be. Okay, so maybe with status we'll pass in the status. So pass in the ID. I'll pass status first. Okay, so yes, we get rid of these lines because we've moved them now. We get rid of pure and adjust because we don't need them anymore. And the status should just be S. And now we can say pure of that. Okay, we're getting close. So it is so I'm curious as to why this worked the way I expected, but the with status did not. So environment status is fine, but if I try to write something which is returning like almost like this, but with environment with status, oh, I bet it's a precedence thing with this. Oh, that might be it. Right, I'm going to try this again. Okay, so back to this attempt. So we pass in monoleo m, and we'll take the ID, and we'll take the ID, we'll take the environment, and we will return an append environment status. Okay, so 2 arguments here. We'll get the current time, and we will get the bookings back. This will be from SQL key. No, to SQL key, sorry, going that way. Okay, so we get the bookings back. And then we can say status bookings and just put this code back in again. So status of the empty list is available, and status of anything else is booked. Okay, and now we need to say pure that thing. Okay. I will drop status out of this because it's no longer used. How about that? That did not help. It's back to its weird type error. So we get this whole thing. Oh, we don't need pure. Okay, so now we've got the maybe issue going on. So what's the type of S? S is maybe. Where does this maybe come from? It comes from here. Like, I'm pretty sure it comes from here, but I mean, if I write this more explicitly and avoid the operator, and then just say type of S should not hopefully be environment status. Nope, it's a weird type. I don't understand. I don't get why doing this I really don't understand. So the type of this is maybe environment. Okay. So I put in maybe, I can't remember what the type maybe is. It is not going to tell me. Wait a second. The type of maybe is B, A to B, maybe A to B. So B is the default, I think. And then this is a function that gets run with the with A if there's a value in there. So what's the default? Well, default would be nothing. There's another way of writing that, but I'll write it out and it'll tell me what the answer is, basically. And then the function I want is with status ID, and we're going to apply it to env, and it's going to say use what? With sys ID of n. Okay, and then what have we got here? Couldn't much type this. Right, so we just that. And that was the expected type is reader t blah. The actual type is maybe that. So it's not right. So we take our environment and we run it through this thing, and we're just missing the maybe here, I think. Are we missing the maybe? Yes. So what's the supply distance from maybe? How do you say that? We look for info of maybe. I don't know how you find the instance. I guess go and look it up. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe type, and then we look for the instance for monad. Oh no, don't jump into there. Show me the definition. Here we go, yes. Okay, so we got maybe A, then we get A to maybe B, and we get maybe B back. Sorry, our A to maybe B should be taking maybe environment, and returning, or A to maybe B, sorry, should be taking the environment and returning maybe B. Okay, that's not what we're doing. I don't know why I thought I wanted bind in this case. Right, env is definitely of type maybe environment. All right, it's that long form. Case env of nothing is pure nothing. And then just E is, and then we want to take, we want to take the E and we want to call with status on it. Okay, and this is going to be just that. No, it's not. Because I'm putting maybe in the outside. So I think I'd like to say something like S is that thing. And then pure of just S. Okay, that's what I'd like to write in a shorter form. Because I can move pure outside. Oh, I cannot. Okay. Okay, first of all, let me fix this. We'll see if it works, I guess. This will be from SQL key. ID. Okay, I've got no errors. Just run my test, see if it works. I guess that's the first thing. And then if it does work, then we can try fixing it. Cool, okay. That's kind of cool, I guess, right? The test passes. In fact, all the tests pass. So we now, when we get the environment back, we get its availability, which is cool. Okay, can I work out a better way of writing this? I don't even know why I care, but I've started now, so I want to try and make it shorter. So we want to take, I think the problem is this. It's calling with status, but then getting result out. Yeah, I don't think I can fix that easily without writing something on appm. Because my monad instance from appm actually comes from the monad instance for reader. Data text lazy read, that's not what I want. Control monad reader. I think that's the one. Instances. The reader monad. Okay. I guess we're actually reader T, aren't we? So R is our environment in this case. In the config M, so appm is basically reader T R. M is the other monad. In this case, monad.io, some variant on monad.io. A is our return value. Is that right? think it's our return value. And then a function which goes from A to reader. So append MB. So we need something that goes from environment status to append maybe environment status. And we don't really have that. This isn't going to be much better, is it? ATRM A to B. Yeah. We've got no, we don't have A to B. That's trouble because we want to run it. This thing. I don't think I'm going to fix it. I'm just going to stick with this because at least it works. Okay, cool. So I have now some code that works out the status when you create a booking against an environment. And then for listing it, it doesn't do it. God, I dread to think how it's going to work. What does this return to me? A list of entity environments. Okay, I wonder, do you know, actually, I'm not going to try and write that one today, but next week I might try and write a test for putting the availability onto the list. There's a lot of queries though. I might not bother doing that. I don't know. I might do it because it's an interesting exercise to try and work out how to map this function. Yeah, which has now got a fancy type. And then map it over all of the environments that we got back. I'll give it a go next week. Okay, cool. So for today, I've taken my single filling test and I have fixed it and got in a bit of a muddle with the types. But cool. I mean, that's Haskell, isn't it? Yeah, so next week I'll look at adding the availability onto the listing and then I might do some more refactoring. But I can do refactoring now with tests in place, so I can be reasonably confident that the stuff that I am refactoring still works. Cool. All right, then. Thank you very much for watching along, and hopefully see you next week. Goodbye.